you're wondering, I've just been introduced, so I'm not going to go over those nitty-gritty. However, I want to be able to introduce myself not as an academic this time around, someone who has done research, but as someone who writes petition. So, like I said, I live in Mount Olive in Alabama, so it's just a kind of 2, 3 minutes away from Birmingham, which is one of the biggest city in Alabama. And I relocated to the United States in 2016 to get my PhD. My intention was to finish my PhD, return back to Nigeria, but as you keep staying in the United States, you keep forgetting about Nigeria and you don't want to go back. So that is a little about me. So in 2022, I self-petitioned on the green card, and that was my journey. I did the EB2 NIW, and that was my journey to green card. So this achievement, I was in the same Telegram group as my brother here, Joshua. Um, it was the journey that started me writing petition for people. But one thing I want to say is that as at that time, I have two journal articles published without without with only 2 citations at the time my petition was approved. But I will be going more into these details later about the requirement. I wrote my first petition for the client who called me. He was trying he was asking me how I figured my own, and I was explaining. He said no, that even lawyers cannot explain it as beautiful as you can. So he wanted to pay me. He was like, "Let me pay you to write this," and I said, "No, I don't have time to write." We were talking, and he transferred money to me. In the US, you can transfer money to people having only their phone number. So that money that he transferred to me was my motivation. Well, $100. Well, I wasn't broke that time, but $100 extra was something I would love to have. So I took my time, wrote the petition. That petition was approved. Not too long, I got another. Someone called me and was seeking for my advice. I told them, well, I could write this for you. I pitched myself, and that second case was approved. I was in the same Telegram group with my brother Joshua. So I reached out to him and said, hey, I know this is your situation, but let me write your petition and see what I could do. So we agreed on $500. Now, in case you want to know, it was I think it was enticing to him to pay me $500. That if you look at what lawyers are charging. So I started writing the petition, and I came back to him and said, hey, this thing is a lot. But as at that time, he has seen what I could do. He has seen what I've written, and he said, then I said, can you add $500 to me, please? So with much hesitation, he added $500, and he was happy to do that. And that was his journey into the whole thing. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to represent in any legal form, but I understand what I do. So I would say I understand immigration life, being an immigrant myself. I went through the same system myself. And my business is a registered business in the state of Tennessee, which means that if I misbehave, you could sue me, take me to court, and anything can happen. So I also run a YouTube channel. This is my YouTube page. I have a couple of videos that year, and this is my website. And on this website, you could go see the list of approved cases that I've won. So I don't want to bore you guys with those details. So let's go deep into what we're talking about here, which is the employment-based visa. So there are 3 options to getting a green card in the United States. So these are the options I want to be talking about. And the first one it's called, you don't have to go through the labor certification. You have to be something that is in the national interest of the United States. And you could apply with or without a degree. I use the word without a degree here in a loose term, meaning that you don't have to formally have a bachelor's degree. If you have something close to a bachelor, like in the United States, we have something like an associate degree. And in most countries, you could have a diploma. So a diploma could fit into an associate degree, kind of. but you have to do the evaluation. So you don't need a formal bachelor's degree. You could have an advanced degree or a master's degree, and this is just the primary eligibility to qualify for the petition for the NIW writing that I'm going to be talking more about today. So the next step I'm talking about is, so like I mentioned, there are three ways to get the green card in the United States. So the first one I'm talking about is the EB1A, which is the aliens with extraordinary ability anywhere, either science, arts, business, etc. And the next one is the EB1B, which is outstanding researchers or professor. However, let's take note here that the EB1B, an employer has to sponsor you. That means you need to have a job with an employer fights for you. But the EB1 is not the case. The next step is the EB2 NIW, which is what I'm going to be focusing more today, which is basically members of professions holding an advanced degree. That is what they say. But like I mentioned earlier, you don't need an advanced degree to apply. And if you know Joshua too well, you notice that he has not gone to school so much as I did. He only has a bachelor's degree from Unilag. So I worked with his case as it is. So next one is that those seeking the national interest waiver, which is the NIW, may self-petition. They do not need an employer to sponsor them, which is the key, which makes it very clear that you could apply from anywhere in the world, either Nigeria, Africa, Europe, or wherever you are. So let's go to the next step, right? And the next thing I want to talk about is it my right? Am I entitled to read when I apply? And to answer this very thing, so well, it's based on discretion. Just the same way you go to the US Embassy in Nigeria or anywhere, you don't, even if you have all the legitimate documents, you can be denied of your visa, which means that it's not your right. It's not your right. It's based on discretion. But if you're seeking the national interest waiver, you must first satisfy subparagraph, which is A, by demonstrating that the beneficiary, which you are the beneficiary, qualifies as a member of the profession holding an advanced degree. So this is just the plain language here, or an individual of exceptional ability. So there are two routes to this, which is the advanced degree route or the exceptional ability route. So the exceptional ability route, you do not have to have a bachelor's degree. For the advanced degree, you have a master's degree and above. So the next step is that you have to also certify that it will be of the national interest of the United States to waive the job offer, meaning that you don't need a job offer. But if you have a job, it's okay, but you don't need the job offer. And it's under the matter of Danasa three-prong test, which I'm going to be talking more later today. My next slide, which I'm going to talk about, which is the matter of Danasa. And here I'm putting the three-prong fork here, which to say that you have to qualify as an alien, showing that your work is in the national interest of the United States and you have an advanced degree. You will notice that I keep coming to this advanced degree. This is just the plain language. Like I mentioned earlier, you do not need an advanced degree. If you have a bachelor's or something that is close to a bachelor's, a diploma, or any equivalent degree, you can apply and it's going to get approved. So the next one here says that the US may grant you a national interest waiver if you were able to demonstrate that your proposed endeavor has substantial merit and is of national importance. So what does that mean? You have to come up with a proposed endeavor. Like, let me put it this way, like a plan of what you are going to be doing in the United States. What is that plan? You give a detailed description of what that plan is going to be, what it's about, and how is it going to benefit the United States. And that is the proposed endeavor. And you have to show that you are well positioned to advance your proposed endeavor. And what do I mean by that? That if you pick up your resume, your CV, that your CV will look so thick that so people know that you have achieved a lot. That is just my easiest way of explaining it. And the next one is that on balance, it will be beneficial to the United States to waive the job offer or labor certification requirement. And For those who don't know much about the labor certification requirement, it says that if an employer is sponsoring you, the employer have to go through the labor certification requirement where they will show that there is no other US and there's no other American that has the same degree and the same qualification as you do, and you have more qualification, basically more than any other American out there, and they are not short paying you in what they want to pay. I want to ask if you can mute this person that is making the noise, please. So that is the labor certification process, and what we are basically saying is that based on what you have, your proposed endeavor and the national interest of your proposed endeavor, it's going to be beneficial for the United States to waive the labor certification. In other words, you are saying that the United States will gain if they grant you the green card process. So that is basically what it is. I'm not going into deep details here. I'm just giving you kind of a panorama of what this is all about. And my next stuff I want to talk about, that to get into the NIW process, there are 6 types of evidence that you have to provide, and these 6 are the ones listed on their website. However, that let's go before I go to the however, let's talk about the 6. You have to demonstrate that you have an official degree or a diploma, certificate, or similar award from a college, university, or institution of learning. So that is one, relating to your exceptional ability or your proposed endeavor. So it means that if you say you are a, let me just use an accountant, right? That your proposed endeavor is related to accounting endeavor, but you have a degree in, let me use German, right? So there is no relation between German studies and accounting. So you must have the same degree in your field of endeavor. So the next one, they are saying that you have to provide letters from current or former employees showing that you have at least 10 years of full-time experience. So this is one of the requirements. You also need to provide license to practice your profession or certification for a particular profession or occupation. And for some fields, they don't have license. For example, if you are a data analyst, you don't have a license, but you have a certification. So for that one, you need to provide certification. I do not mean course completion that you get from Coursera or Udemy. You need to have a certification like a certified data analyst, certified cybersecurity analyst, etc. I'm going to be talking about the next one, which to show that you have commanded a high salary or remuneration that demonstrate that you have exceptional ability. And next one is that you have to provide evidence of professional membership or association. In addition to that, you should show that you have earned recognition for achievement and significant contribution to the industry by your peers. And here the however comes in. You could provide comparable evidence that you might not have any of the listed things above, but you could have comparable evidence that to show that you are well positioned to advance your proposed endeavor. So what do I mean? So that a person who qualifies for the EB2 NIW may qualify if they fall as someone holding an advanced degree or a degree, and you are working in an area that is of national interest to the United States. And you should also be able to show that your proposed endeavor will employ you as Americans. So what do I mean that your proposed endeavor has substantial merit and national importance? So it is you showing that whatever you plan to do will be able to employ Americans, will be able to favorably employ Americans, either in an economically depressed area, or will broadly enhance societal welfare. In addition, that it also impacts a government entity or impacts a government matter. And how do I explain that? Let's say Joe Biden comes out and brings and signs a law or an executive order that your proposed endeavor helps the United States to advance that executive order or that bill. My next slide is that your proposed endeavor should be improving the U.S. economy. And it could also be improving wages and condition of U.S. workers, or is improving the health care, or it has national global implication within the particular field. And if I said improving the health care, let's say, for example, there is COVID today, and you are researching on vaccines, that vaccine is improving the U.S. health care. That is a simple way of explaining that. And you should be able to establish yourself as having some unique or exceptional skill, expertise, or knowledge that sets you apart from other persons. So you should be able to demonstrate that you are above average out there. And you're also demonstrating that you possess certain level of competence sufficient to receive a national interest waiver approval. And you are also showing that you are better than everyone out there. That is what it means. And there is also, after you submit all these documents, they also do the final merit determination. And the final merit is just basically the USCIS officer, the immigration officer, sitting down, looking at your petition, looking at every document you have submitted, and putting it on a scale. How good were these evidence? Is it that they show that they performed at the top of their career before they got this award or achievement? So you have to show some level of exceptional ability. That is what the final merit determination means. So when they put everything on a scale, it demonstrates that you are better than everyone else, for them to be able to show that you merit a national interest waiver. And for those out there, I have done a video on this final merit determination. You could use the link to check my YouTube channel and watch to get more details on it. I don't want to go into details now. So what are the advantages of the national interest waiver? The first one is that there are two steps in the national interest waiver. You have to apply for the I-140 petition. So the petition does not actually give you the green card. It is the petition that leads you on the path to the green card. So once a petition is approved, you can apply for the green card. And the petition is the I-140 petition. And you don't need an employer to sponsor you. You can do that yourself. And also, once it's approved, you could file for the I-485, which is the green card, and your green card journey starts. So what are the advantages when you do it yourself as against when the employer files for you? So number one, you don't need an employer. You could get your approval and say goodbye to an employer if you at all you have a bad boss. And also, it is easier than the EB1. The EB1 is for the bigger boys. And third, you could skip the labor certification process. So I'm gradually coming to, so how much does it cost? How much does it cost? So the I-140 petition, so the general filing fee is $715. And it depends on how you're filing. So I want us to understand that every person filing an employment-based visa is an employer of labor. So you have to include an additional $300 if you're self-petitioning. So it makes your fee $1,015. So that is basically what I want to say. And everything that I've said here, you could read more about it on the USCIS website. I have it here for you. And I go to my next one, and when I'm thanking you for paying attention, for not disrupting my presentation. And if you have any question, you could shoot now. And if you want to talk to me, here is my details. And if you go to my website, like, it's a paid consultation. I charge $50 for 30 minutes consultation. You can shoot me an email, I will respond.
Hello. Yes. So let's have the questions. Just one question per person, and then we can run through it. Go on, please.
All right, please. After making that payment, if at all, first and foremost, I appreciate our presenter and the organizer for the enlightenment. So after one has made a payment, if at all one is not successful, God forbid bad thing, and the money be returned back to someone?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. But with God on one side, if one can follow all the procedure, one is likely to make it.
Yes, yes. Like I mentioned, this is based on discretion. Like if you've ever been to a US embassy, once they deny, you cannot get your money back. That is how this one works. So you cannot get your money back. Your money is gone. You have to try again. You could try as many times as possible.
Okay, thank you,
And
doctor.
someone has a question here that they are actually in the US on B1, B2. Can they adjust status to any of the EB2?
Yeah, that's my question, sir.
So first of all, you have to do the EB2 and get approved. Can you adjust status? If you exceed 90 days after your arrival, you could adjust status. And I will tell you, I'm not the one that decides, but what I know is that you could adjust status after having stayed in the United States after 90 days after your arrival. Because if you do it within that 90 days, you are committing a fraud, a visa fraud. So you have to stay 90 days after you have arrived in the United States to be able to change status.
And if I may add, if I may add for the person who asked that question, if it is EB2 that you're specific about, the bulletin right now does not favor you to adjust status. So you might want to consider EB1, or you can discuss with him later, the intricacies of being able to adjust status, using EB1 and then EB2. All right.
And doing a master's degree in the computational and quantitative method. So my question is, can I still self-petition or apply for this EB2 even before I graduate?
Absolutely, yes. If you have a bachelor's degree plus 5 years of working in the same field, I expect the same field. But if you don't, you have to wait till you get your master's.
Okay, cool. My field is a little bit okay. I don't know if, let me just say so that maybe you can just, I have a degree, bachelor's degree in mathematics and statistics, and I have an IT certification in computation, in data analytics computation. I'm sorry. Okay, I said I have a degree, a bachelor's degree in mathematics and statistics, and also I have a certification, an IT certification in data analytics, data science analytics. So my take is that, while I'm still doing my master, can I still go ahead with all of this, and apply for the EB2? And which one will it be? I mean, is it the self-petition? Of course, I don't know.
Oh, it's self-petition. The EB2 NIW is self-petition, so you could go ahead and apply.
Even the fact that I'm having a different master's degree, like, not mathematics this time around or statistics, is computational method.
I am not a STEM guy, but if you ask me from a layman, I would think that mathematics and computational are related.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll be glad to begin the process. Okay. Do I need to state the fact that I'm currently doing a master's degree?
Yes, all those details will be needed. Let me just say it right. If you're applying for the EB2, you have to be naked and with all your degrees and everything about you before the immigration officer. Okay. Because you don't know what is going to help you win your petition.
Okay. All right. I would like to contact you for the process at the end of this meeting. I don't know.
Yes, you can. You can. I think my details was put at the end of the screen. Or you could ask Joshua. You shared it. My website is. I could, if he can allow me to share my screen, I will be able to share my details with you.
All right, no problem.
Okay, let me. Yes, I would give you the permission to share your screen, and then you could also chat me for your details. I would share them with you. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Questions, please. Go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for this session. It's been very impactful. Thank you. I have two questions, but they can be lumped together as one. I just need clarity on what's the minimum requirement to qualify for this petition route that you mentioned. Do you have like a list of, or how do we know if you are eligible, qualify for it or not?
Okay, so I will have to go back to my slide real quick if Joshua can give me permission to share my screen, because I'm just noticing that you were not here when I started. So
Okay, hold on. Let me.
So while he's doing that, so the basic eligibility, right, is having a degree, diploma, or an advanced degree to be able to qualify to apply. That is the base requirement. So once you have either a bachelor's plus 5 years or an advanced degree or a diploma, then you show that you have extraordinary ability. And in addition to all these, there are other things that you have to demonstrate. Let me go back to my screen. I may be able to show you what I have. Your degrees, evidence of letters from other people, recommendation letters. You have to show you have license to practice your field or certification. And you also have to show that you have commanded a high salary or membership of professional organization and recognition in your field. So they need 3 out of these 6. It's not the whole 6, 3 out of 6. And if you don't have readily these 6, you could show comparable evidence saying, okay, I don't have blue, but I have red. I don't have red, but I have black. I don't have black, but I have yellow. That is basically it.
So,
questions, please.
Thank you for that. I have a joining question, if you don't mind, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, your experience now, is it going to be concurrent? So what I mean is this, sometimes we change job.
Yes,
and
sir.
say, for example, here in Nigeria, you have your first degree, maybe in economics or in mathematics, for example. And after school, you have a job, say maybe example, you're working at this. The reality of here in Nigeria, you may not really work as a mathematician, as an economist or something. Maybe you first got a job as a salesperson, for maybe for the first 3 or 4 years. Then after you then get another job, maybe you now switch to IT, for example, then you start working maybe as a technology person, maybe in an IT support, for example, for another 3 or 4 years. Now, if you look at your 7 years experience now, they are not totality in IT. The first 4 years is in sales, then the next 3 years is in IT. So what I want to say is that, do they look at the cumulative experience that, okay, this 7 years of experience must have been in IT that you are using, or the 3 years experience will suffice to qualify?
This is a very good question, and now let me explain to you. First of all, you have to understand that the situation you just explained is not peculiar to Nigeria. That people in the US or any country in the world can finish a degree, let's say in mathematics, and they are doing something else, making money and making a career. It's normal. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria. And so you have to factor in, let's say, let me give an example, right? If your proposed endeavor is in accounting, so you have to show that you have cumulative experience, recognition, membership of professional organization in accounting, even if you have done 4 out of 7 years of your life in accounting. So that is what they are looking at. So your proposed endeavor should be able to talk back to what you have done before.
Okay, so while the questions are coming in, let me add that you may contact Dr. Chidozie to help with your petition. Again, as a first-hand testimonial, my experience is that I did consult an attorney in the United States, in Manhattan particularly, and then she did my petition. This was some 3-4 years ago, and made some very grievous, unforgivable mistakes. And that cost me 2 years. 2 years of my time. But as a matter of fact, maybe by now I should be close to, I should be maybe a year or two away from being able to apply for citizenship. So it was at the verge of giving up that I encountered Dr. Chidozie. And in fact, it was that that kicked off my interest and commitment to immigration services and consulting. He did an amazing job. I'm a writer, been a writer for many years. So when I tell you somebody did an amazing job, he's being an immigrant himself. He knows and can feel the pulse of fellow immigrants, and as a Nigerian, he is also committed to ensuring that fellow Nigerians are given the platform to come to the United States and explore their potential. So he is somebody you want to give your petition to write for you, and is also very affordable. I remember paying around $5,000 to $7,000, to that attorney to write the case. That didn't go well. Spent almost $10,000 on it, but he would not charge you up to half of that. And the turnaround time is very, very quick as well, and he is very detailed and thorough with his work. So I would encourage you, if getting the US green card through the employment-based route is your goal, you want to talk to him. You want to talk to him, you want to reach out to him ASAP, because he can only take a number of cases per month. And so when that quota is filled up, you will have to wait. So who else has a question?
Say a very good thank you, a very big thank you for the high opener and the information given. And I have some certain questions I want to ask, which are personal in a way. You made mention of EB2 NIW, National Interest Waiver.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, I want some clarification in a way. What is, which one is NIW? Is it the same EB2 that is NIW, or
it is the same thing? It's just the EB2 is the first name, then the NIW is the last name. That is just an easier way to explain it.
Okay. Now, the personal question I said I want to ask. Now, concerning my hobby, he studied physiology.
Yes.
And he has been working in a pharmaceutical company as a marketer.
Yeah.
So and he has really worked in that area for a number of years, to the extent that he has reached a national position.
Okay.
But then a national position, in that company. But I want to ask, he studied physiology, not marketing.
Okay.
Are you getting? But along the line, he has a diploma in marketing.
Okay.
I want to, what? Are you getting me?
I'm understanding you.
Okay. So I want to find out if he qualified to, maybe to apply for such.
Yeah. Let me explain something to you. We talked about this earlier. My brother here is going to put it on his YouTube channel in case you want to watch, and I'm going to also post it on my YouTube channel. I've made a video on this, on the final merit determination, that after they have looked at all your documents, they will want to assess if you meet the NIW category. Now, if you could do me a favor, subscribe to my brother's channel, is Joshua's channel. Subscribe to my channel. It's going to help us to be able to get it to as many people as possible. But I want to explain to you that you have to understand something, that when people get a degree in A can talk to degree A can talk to degree B, and degree B can talk to degree C. That someone in physiology might not be using the physiology degree in pharmaceutical, but using the physiology knowledge in pharmaceutical. So by the time you put all these things together, they make the person someone who is a an expert in pharmaceutical marketing.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it means that almost everything that he has done in his life, from the degree itself to the diploma in pharmaceutical, to his work experience in pharmaceutical, they are going to be important in writing the petition, and they are valid, they are important.
All right. Okay, I would like to get in touch anyway. Then, well, because I said I'm going to ask personal question. If, on the other hand, his own do not really go well along maybe with the application, I want to ask about mine. I studied biochemistry, and I have a master's and also MPhil in biochemistry. But I've not been able to, though I plan still pursuing my PhD, but I've not been able to start the PhD. But all the while, I have researched in some certain, I know I've researched in some certain areas, and I also have publications. Now, as a research scientist, even though I've not really worked maybe in a university setting or maybe in a research institute, I want to find out if I can also apply.
Yes, ma'am. So, like I would say again, if maybe I'm assuming you came in late, that is my assumption. By the time we finish, go to our YouTube channel, watch the videos in entirety. And I've made a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. But one thing I will tell you, you don't have to be working in university to publish.
Okay.
If you're working in, let's say, Unilever's, GlaxoSmithKline, these are Nigerian companies, you could be publishing. What matters is that you have an advanced degree publication, like you mentioned, which is a comparable evidence. And you have the experience that, and also you are better than the average person out there.
Okay.
So I may not be able to tell you if you could get approved or not, because I need to see the resumes in entirety.
Okay.
So
okay.
But I think that you are on the right track.
All right. Okay. Thanks for the information. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
So,
yes, because you guys are enjoying free consultation already.
No, so I think I came in during the question sections, and despite being late, I've got some very, burning questions in me. I understand the fact that, EB1A or EB2 and IW have got 10 criteria, and you have to satisfy at least 3 to qualify. And 3 of which you don't know, which has to be very strong before you apply. Most times I see people talk about these EB class visas, but only few people actually talk about EB3, sometimes. And I really don't know at some point where did you, what does it really help you to be able to determine what class of EB visa to go for? Because why I'm saying this is because I've found out over time that some people that qualify for EB2 and IW sometimes also qualify for EB1A. So and at some point it's money included, it's money factor here. So what are you going to advise?
My advice is that one thing, let me make it clear. The EB3 is employer sponsored. We are talking about getting visa from anywhere. So that is why we're not talking about the EB3. And the EB3 is an unskilled and skilled labor. And your employer needs to sponsor you. That is one thing it's going to cost a lot of money from the employer. And in the United States here, most employers don't like doing that. So we are talking about the ones that your degree, your experience, and all you have achieved in life, it's your journey to your green card. That's what we are focusing here today. And there is a question on the chat saying that, do I need to go for an interview for this? Most of the time, you don't need an interview. You sit down on your house, they approve you, and you go. But if you're outside the US, they might call you for consular interview. So it depends. I think that is, I don't know if I answered your question, sir.
Yes, just a quick one. You said if someone is outside the US, they might call the person for an interview. I would like to ask that some people come to the US and visit the United States. When they are currently visiting and then they make an application, does that account the fact that they have to go back to their home country to make an interview, or you know?
Like I mentioned earlier, that if you're in the US on a B1, B2 visa, you have to stay 90 days before you apply for adjustment of status. So they might not call you for an interview, except they notice that something is fraudulent in your application. They might call you. For example, if you say you are married and you're living with your wife, and one thing they used to check that the name of your last name does not correspond with your wife's last name. You guys don't share the same bank account. You guys don't have, things that might suggest that you guys are just roommates. They might call you guys for interview. So, but 99% of the time, there is no interview. 90% of the time, 95%.